In ancient Egypt's blazing deserts, Set ruled the Red Land, chaos to the Nile's order. He was the storm god, a force of wild unpredictability, both feared and respected. Set's strange composite animal form set him apart, embodying the alien and untamable. Egyptians saw him not as pure evil, but as the necessary chaos that challenged and strengthened order. Without Set, the world would stagnate. His trials forced gods and mortals to adapt and endure. His story is a journey into the wild shadows of nature and the human mind. Set is both villain and hero in Egyptian myth. He murdered Osiris, plunging the world into chaos, yet he also defended Ra from the serpent Apep each night. His violence threatened order but also protected it. Sometimes only a monster can fight monsters. Pharaohs like Seti and Ramesses embraced Set's power, seeing him as a symbol of strength and protection. Set's duality, destroyer and savior, made him both feared and revered. He was the storm, devastating but also purifying. Egypt's survival often depended on harnessing his wild energy. Set's reputation shifted with Egypt's history. Adopted by foreign rulers, he became linked to invaders and was demonized as Egypt faced conquest. Yet in desert outposts, Set remained vital, a god of survival in harsh lands. His myth endured, too deeply woven to erase. Today, Set fascinates anew, appearing in modern faiths and pop culture as both villain and complex anti-hero. His story reminds us that chaos is part of life's balance. Set endures as a symbol of the untamed forces within and around us. To embody Set, Egyptians invented the Set animal, a creature found nowhere in nature. With its curved snout, squared ears and forked tail, it was a symbol of the unknown and the disruptive. The Set animal's form was intentionally alien, a warning of Set's unpredictable power. Scholars still debate its inspiration, but its true purpose was mythic, to show Set as the ultimate outsider. Every feature reflected his role as a force beyond comprehension. Set's image was a reminder that chaos can never be fully understood or controlled. Set's power was symbolized by the Was scepter, a staff topped with his animal's head, representing dominion over chaos. The forked tail, another key symbol, stood for division and conflict, echoing Set's paradoxical nature. These symbols weren't just art, they were believed to channel Set's strength and protect against danger. Pharaohs and priests wielded them to harness the storm god's energy. Through these icons, chaos became something tangible, respected, feared, and sometimes even wielded. Set's legacy lives on in the symbols of power and the eternal dance between order and disorder. Set's very essence was tied to the physical environment of ancient Egypt, specifically the vast and inhospitable deserts that bordered the fertile Nile Valley. The Egyptians called this region the Deshret, or the Red Land, a place of searing heat, blinding sun, and profound emptiness. This landscape was the ultimate symbol of Set's dominion. It was a realm starkly opposed to the Kemet, the Black Land, which was the domain of Osiris and Horus and represented life, order, and civilization. The Red Land was a place of death, chaos, and danger. By making Set the lord of this domain, the Egyptians personified the desert's threatening nature, turning geographical reality into powerful mythological truth about forces beyond their control. The desert was more than just a place of absence, it was an active, aggressive force. The sandstorms that swept in from the wastes were seen as the very breath of Set. These violent tempests could block out the sun, choke the air with sand, and destroy crops. A direct assault by chaos upon the Black Land. The howling wind was his voice, and the stinging sand was his weapon. This made Set a god of immense and terrifying power. He was the embodiment of nature's untamed fury, a reminder that Egyptian life was fragile and under threat from wild energies beyond the horizon. Set was also linked with specific materials and colors. His signature color was red, the color of desert sand and blood. Red was ambiguous in ancient Egypt. It could symbolize life and vitality, but was more often associated with danger, anger, and destruction. Anything red was touched by Set's essence. Red-haired people were thought to be his followers, and red-furred animals like the desert fox were considered his sacred creatures. This reinforced his identity as a being of violent passions, distinguishing him from the blues and greens associated with the Nile and fertility. Finally, Set was connected to iron. In the Bronze Age, iron was rare and mysterious, often sourced from meteorites that fell from the sky. This celestial origin linked it to the heavens, but its strength and use in weaponry associated it with warfare and violence. The Egyptians called iron the bone of Set, believing it was his divine substance. This underscored his role as a martial god, a deity of immense strength and destructive capability. The hardness of iron perfectly mirrored the unyielding character of the god of the Red Land. Set's story begins within the divine family as one of the first children of Geb and Nut. His siblings included Osiris, Isis, and Nephthys. Osiris, destined for greatness, embodied kingship and order, while Set represented chaos. This contrast fueled Set's jealousy. Osiris ruled the fertile lands, while Set was relegated to the barren desert, a division he saw as unjust. Their rivalry was a clash of cosmic principles, order versus disruption. The tension was further complicated by troubled relationships with their sisters, setting the stage for tragedy. Set's jealousy erupted into a plan of unspeakable violence. At a grand banquet, Set unveiled a magnificent chest, a gift for whoever fit inside. It was a trap. Osiris lay down and Set slammed the lid shut, sealing him inside. Set cast the chest into the Nile, committing the first murder and plunging Egypt into chaos. Isis searched for Osiris, but Set tore his body into pieces, scattering them across Egypt. This cemented Set's reputation as the ultimate agent of destruction. The murder of Osiris led to the rise of Horus, the falcon-headed god. Hidden in the Nile Delta, Horus grew, dedicated to avenging his father and reclaiming his throne. This sparked the contendings of Horus and Set, a war of battles and magical contests judged by the gods. Set tore out Horus's eye, which became the Eye of Horus. After 80 years, the gods sided with Horus, declaring him the rightful heir. Set became the god of desert storms, tasked with protecting Ra, balancing destruction with defense. The epic story of Set's rivalry with Osiris and Horus is far more than a simple tale of good versus evil. It is a profound exploration of the nature of the universe as the ancient Egyptians saw it. Set's character, though villainous, served an essential cosmic purpose. His chaotic actions, from the murder of his brother to the war against his nephew, were the catalysts for change and growth. Without Set's challenge, the world might have remained in peaceful but static perfection. His disruptive presence forced the other gods to act, to grow stronger, and to reaffirm the principles of justice and order. The conflict became a defining myth for Egyptian kingship. The struggle between Horus and Set symbolized the tension between the two halves of Egypt, the fertile Black Land, Horus, and the barren Red Land, Set. A successful pharaoh embodied the virtues of both gods. He had to be a just ruler like Horus, ensuring his people's prosperity, but he also needed Set's strength and ferocity to defend Egypt's borders and control the harsh desert regions. The unification of the two lands reflected the resolution of the divine conflict, with the pharaoh as the living Horus who had integrated Set's power. Set's eventual defeat and reintegration is crucial to the story. He was not annihilated or cast into oblivion. Instead, his power was redirected. The violence he used against his family was now harnessed to protect Ra from the serpent Apep. This demonstrates the Egyptian worldview. Chaos is not to be eradicated, but managed and balanced. Set's uncontrolled nature threatened creation, but when properly channeled, it became a shield against greater chaos. Total annihilation, represented by Apep. Set embodies the concept of necessary evil. His actions cause suffering and disorder, yet lead to a stronger cosmic structure. The restoration of Horus's eye, legitimate succession, and chaos having a protective role all result from his initial betrayal. Order is not defined by chaos's absence, but by its successful containment and balance. Set's legacy is complex. He is the villain whose villainy is essential, the destroyer whose force protects creation, and the challenger who prevents stagnant peace. Set's domain was the vast desert the Egyptians called the Deshret, or the Red Land. As lord of this realm, Set personified its harsh nature, commanding the heat and emptiness. This made Set the ultimate outsider, a god rooted in the wild spaces at the fringes of creation. His authority extended to the concept of foreignness itself. Set became the divine patron of foreigners and their lands, a complex figure to the Egyptians. As the god of foreigners, he oversaw trade routes bringing goods into Egypt. Set was a bridge to the outside world, managing interactions with other kingdoms. This connection also made him a god of chaos. Set wielded chaos as his weapon, representing the forces that undermine stability. Acknowledging him was the Egyptian way of recognizing chaos as an inherent part of existence. Set commanded violent weather, especially ferocious desert sandstorms, believed to be manifestations of his rage. He was also a god of thunderstorms and lightning. Set was one of the most physically powerful gods, possessing unmatched brute force. His ferocity in mythological battles was legendary. He was a deity of pure violence. Pharaohs sought to identify with Set, seeing him as a patron of military strength and royal power. They invoked his name to project invincible might. As Egypt expanded and met other civilizations, Set was syncretized with foreign deities. He merged with Baal-Hadad, becoming Seth-Baal, wielding lightning. With the Hittites, Set was seen in Teshub, recognizing shared themes of power. This highlights Set's role as a bridge between cultures. Set was also connected to the heavens associated with Mercury. Mercury's erratic journey mirrors Set's unpredictable character. Set had a connection to the northern sky, to Ursa Major. The stars were seen as the followers of Set, forming his chaotic army in the heavens. This tied his disruptive power to the cosmos itself. Set was born from the union of Geb, the earth god, and Nut, the sky goddess. He shared this lineage with his siblings, Osiris, Isis, and Nephthys. This family formed the foundation of the divine social order. From the beginning, relationships within this family were fraught with tension. Osiris ruled the fertile Black Land, while Set was given the barren Red Land. This fueled jealousy in Set, setting the stage for conflict. His relationship with Osiris was one of antagonism. The four siblings represented a system of cosmic forces. Their interactions were the engine of mythological storytelling. Set's conflict was an essential part of his being. He was born to be the challenger, making his familial relationships the source of his cosmic purpose. In Egyptian mythology, divine pairings maintained balance. Set's marriage to Nephthys contrasted sharply with Osiris and Isis's harmonious union. Defined by turmoil and neglect, their relationship was far from ideal. Driven by a desire for motherhood, Nephthys famously tricked Osiris into conceiving Anubis. Abandoning the child, Anubis was found and raised by Isis. Ultimately, Nephthys abandoned Set, joining Isis to mourn Osiris, choosing order over chaos. This left Set isolated in his villainy. Set's untamed nature led him to relationships with powerful foreign warrior goddesses like Anat and Astarte. These unions were political statements, asserting dominion over foreign lands. Set was also credited with fathering other deities. One significant offspring was Maga, a monstrous serpent god. In the Fayum region, he was considered the father of Sobek, the crocodile god. Set's relationships and offspring reflect his complex influence and chaotic, untamable strength. Despite his reputation, Set was a major deity, actively worshipped throughout Egypt. His primary sanctuary was in Ombos, near Komombo in Upper Egypt, dating back to the pre-dynastic period. Another significant center was in the northeastern Nile Delta around Avaris. Set's worship became prominent during the Second Intermediate Period when the Hyksos elevated him. The cult of Set also thrived in the Fayum oasis. Further afield, his worship was strong in remote desert oases. The city of Oxyrhynchus had a negative connection to Set. This demonstrates the duality of his reception across Egypt. The cult of Set peaked during the rule of the Hyksos and the Ramesside pharaohs. The Hyksos, from Western Asia, conquered Lower Egypt around 1650 BCE. They identified their storm god Hadad with Set, elevating Set's status. Later, the Ramesside pharaohs, originating from the Delta, favored Set, especially Seti I, whose name means "he of Set." They embraced Set as a patron of their military ambitions, depicting him alongside pharaohs in battle, harnessing his strength for the Egyptian state. The year 400. Stela is a remarkable monument. Commissioned by Ramesses II, it commemorates the 400th anniversary of Set's worship, linked to the Hyksos arrival. This act celebrated a historical milestone connected to a period of foreign rule. The stela depicts Ramesses II offering wine to Set, legitimizing his family's connection to the god. The stela is significant because it shows a reinterpretation of history. The focus was placed squarely on the enduring power of Set. Ultimately, the year 400 stela is a powerful symbol of Set's resilience. The golden age of Set's worship was not destined to last, as Egypt entered a period of political fragmentation. The perception of Set began to change dramatically for the worse, as he was increasingly seen as the patron god of Egypt's oppressors. Set's role as the murderer of Osiris was emphasized, while his protective aspects were forgotten. He was transformed into a figure of pure evil. His name and image were actively erased from monuments in a practice intended to destroy his memory. Temples dedicated to him were either abandoned or rededicated to other gods. He was effectively cast out of the respectable national pantheon, becoming the divine scapegoat for Egypt's political misfortunes. While demonized in the Nile Valley, his worship persisted in remote regions, revered as a powerful local deity. Thousands of years after his temples fell into ruin, the god of chaos has found an unlikely resurrection in the modern world. His complex nature has drawn the attention of contemporary spiritual movements like Kemetism, a religion that aims to practice the worship of the Egyptian pantheon in the present day. For many Kemetists, Set is not the simple villain of later Egyptian history, but a god of necessary change and personal strength. He is seen as a deity who challenges conventions and encourages his followers to find strength in adversity. This modern revival is a testament to the enduring power of Set's story. Beyond the revivalist faith of Kemetism, Set has also become a central figure in a very different kind of modern spiritual movement. In 1975, a new religious organization called the Temple of Set was founded by Michael Aquino, a former high-ranking member of the Church of Satan. This group, however, explicitly rejected Satanism and instead turned to the ancient Egyptian god of chaos as its principal deity. For the Temple of Set, the god represents a powerful philosophical ideal. He is the ultimate symbol of individualism, consciousness, and the deliberate pursuit of self-deification, a path they refer to as the left-hand path. The Temple of Set interprets the mythology surrounding the god in a unique way. They see Set not as a god to be worshipped in the traditional sense, but as a model to be emulated. He is the original self-aware individual who dared to challenge the static cosmic order represented by the other gods. His rebellion against the divine collective is seen as an act of zephyr, a word the temple coined from an ancient Egyptian verb meaning to become or to come into being. This concept is central to their philosophy. It is the process of evolving one's own consciousness and shaping one's own reality through an act of will, just as Set asserted his own being against the universe. This organization is esoteric and initiatory, meaning its teachings are revealed progressively to its members as they advance through a series of degrees. Unlike Kemetism, the Temple of Set does not seek to reconstruct ancient Egyptian religion. Instead, it uses the myth and symbolism of Set as a framework for a modern system of personal development and black magic. Magic, in this context, is understood as the art of causing change to occur in conformity with one's will. Set is the patron of this practice, the divine force that inspires the individual to break free from external conditioning and become the sole creator of their own destiny. The veneration of Set in this manner has, unsurprisingly, been a source of controversy. The temple's association with the left-hand path and its origins in the Church of Satan have led to misconceptions about its beliefs and practices. However, for its members, the Temple of Set offers a philosophical and spiritual home for those who see the individual consciousness as the ultimate source of meaning. In this dark and intellectual corner of modern religion, the ancient god of the desert has been reborn as a powerful icon of isolation, self-empowerment, and the eternal quest for personal enlightenment against the forces of conformity. The long shadow of Set stretches far beyond the realms of modern spirituality and into the vast landscape of popular culture. For decades, his name and image have been, a source of inspiration for writers, filmmakers and game designers who have found in him a ready-made and compelling antagonist. In most of these portrayals, the nuanced, dualistic god of ancient Egypt is stripped away, leaving behind the simplified figure of a malevolent villain. He is often cast as a powerful demonic entity, a god of pure evil whose primary goal is to spread darkness, chaos and destruction across the world, a characterization drawn directly from his later demonization. One of the most iconic and enduring pop culture appearances of Set occurred in the classic British science fiction series Doctor Who. In the 1975 serial Pyramids of Mars, the god appears under the name Sutekh, the Destroyer. He is not a god, but the last member of a powerful alien race called the Osiris, imprisoned on Mars for his cosmic crimes. This portrayal cemented his image for a generation as an immensely powerful and purely malevolent being of almost unimaginable evil. This version of the character proved so popular that he was brought back as the main antagonist for the show's 2024 series finale, reintroducing his terrifying legacy to a new global audience. Set is also a frequent character in the world of video games, particularly those with mythological or fantasy settings. In games like Smite, where players can control gods from various pantheons, Set appears as a playable character, often an assassin-class warrior who embodies his aggressive and chaotic nature. In role-playing games like the Assassin's Creed franchise, his influence is felt through cursed places and ancient lore. These appearances, while often focused on his combat prowess and villainous reputation, have also helped to introduce his name and basic story to millions of people who might otherwise never have encountered this ancient Egyptian deity. This widespread presence in popular culture ensures that Set, in one form or another, remains a part of our collective imagination. While these portrayals often lack the historical and religious complexity of the original figure, they speak to the raw power of his archetype. The idea of a god of chaos, a challenger to the established order, and a symbol of untamed, destructive power is a timeless and compelling concept. From the scrolls of ancient Egypt to the television screens and game consoles of today, the dark god of the desert continues to exert his influence, a testament to the enduring legacy of a story written in the sands thousands of years ago. As our journey comes to a close, we are left with the enduring paradox of Set. He is a god who defies simple categorization, a being woven from contradiction. He is the treacherous murderer and yet also the indispensable guardian. This duality is the central point. The ancient Egyptians knew that the forces that threaten order are sometimes the only things strong enough to protect it. Set's character forces us to confront the role that chaos plays in existence. He embodies the untamed, the unpredictable, and the disruptive energies that challenge stability. His actions are the catalyst, forcing growth and reaffirming justice. Without Set's challenge, the world would be a place of static peace, a form of death. He is the cosmic grit that creates the pearl, the storm that purifies. This complex identity has allowed Set to endure. He embodies the wildness within nature and the human soul. His story is a lesson in balance, teaching that order is not achieved by eradicating chaos. To understand Set is to understand the heart of the Egyptian worldview. He is the shadow that gives the light definition. Set's influence shaped mythology, religion, and kingship. Pharaohs identified with Set as a symbol of power. Rulers projected invincible strength by embracing his ferocity. Set's existence defined Egypt's geographical and psychological map. The struggle between Set and Horus became a metaphor for the division of the land. His association with foreigners had a lasting cultural impact, reflecting Egypt's relationship with the outside world, a god's reputation intertwined with the nation's fate. Set's shadow is inescapable, present in names, ruins, and myths. His impact enriched Egyptian culture, forcing it to grapple with darker aspects and create a complete worldview. The story of Set did not end with the fall of ancient Egypt. His narrative has proven to be remarkably resilient, adapting and transforming through the ages. His journey from revered god to demonized outcast, and now a figure of renewed interest, is a testament to myth. In the modern era, he has been resurrected in contemporary religious movements. These modern interpretations demonstrate a profound human need to connect with ancient archetypes. Simultaneously, Set thrives in popular culture, though often in a simplified and more malevolent form. The unending story of Set reveals that gods are never truly static, reinterpreted and reborn. The god of the Red Land remains as potent and relevant as ever.